Recently, two things happened to me. I mean, really, if you think about it, an endless and uncountable number of things have happened to me, but that's not really important right now, so it was weird of you to bring that up. The first thing that happened to me is that I bought this game, Another Crab's Treasure. You've heard of this. It's a cute-looking game made by developer AgroCrab, who is also known for making this game, Going Under. But we'll come back to that in a second. The second thing that happened to me is that I saw this tweet. And that's a hell of a take. Now, if I could digress from the topic of this video for a second, and I can, I'd like to take a moment to pass on an important piece of advice that I once received.
I'm going to stake you to some very valuable advice.
You see, every day on Twitter, there is a main character. The main character is the person who posts the tweet that gets the most attention. And while that may sound enticing to anyone who doesn't understand the purpose of the Greek myth Narcissus, you must always remember one thing. You should never, under any circumstances, be the main character of Twitter. Unfortunately, the man who tweeted this may not have been aware of that advice, and now has 1.3 thousand replies and God knows how many quote tweets that all just kind of run along the same lines of this, which is honestly my sentiment too. As you'd expect, there are tons of responses from the original guy about how the tweet was definitely bait, and you can tell he's in a really good place mentally because he used the word "twas," which is a word that is only used by people who don't have a deep-seated need to go into the mountains and scream until they pass out. After reading several hundred tweets and then going outside to see if the sun might fix the overwhelming feeling of dread I get every time I do that, spoiler, it did not, I ate a granola bar, and the resulting 4 calories I gained from it got me thinking. If this guy really thinks Black Myth Wukong is the adult Dark Souls, then it's very possible he's never played Dark Souls. It's also incredibly possible that he has never played Ocarina of Time either. But you know what really opened my eyes to the truths of the universe? This guy has never played the real adult Dark Souls. And that's where this little guy comes in. Because Another Crab's Treasure is the real adult Dark Souls. See? How you like that? I brought everything full circle. Now, I know what's going on in your head. You're sitting there watching this video and thinking to yourself, man, what am I gonna have for lunch tomorrow? Italian? And I need you to stop doing that and pay attention. On the surface, or should I say under the surface, haha, ocean puns, this game looks adorable, right? Bright colors, cute main character, good comedic writing. I mean, the first character you meet in the game is literally one of those plastic grabber sharks that you can buy at the gift shop at the zoo. And granted, he does steal your shell, but hey, he's a grabber. He's gonna grab, but that's just the first 2 minutes of the game. Jump off the ledge and into an unseen and unknown new area, and it won't be long before you're surrounded by a group of dangerous-looking crabs with no way to defend yourself. Now, tell me, what's more adult than feeling unwelcome in a place you've never been to before? Things shortly turn to unwarranted violence, which is very adult, and you quickly learn of your need to defend yourself with anything, including the random scraps of garbage you can find around you. Remind you of anything? Perhaps the way that new adults are pushed out into the world with very little in the way of social or survival skills? Maybe the fact that the job market is so unstable and unpredictable that you truly just have to latch onto anything, even if it's not what you want in the first place? From there, you move on, hoping to visit the nearby castle and speak with the Duchess about recovering your stolen shell and paying off your taxes. That's right. The main problem our little hermit crab friend faces is that he needs to pay his taxes. That's the most adult shit you could possibly do, other than learning how to recreate the meals your parents made for you when you were a kid and being disappointed that they just don't taste the same. Unfortunately, you are stopped at the gate and told that you are far too naked to enter this club, and that is extremely relatable to adults because... Not that part? Okay, my bad. Moving on. You soon arrive at the local charity center. It's a vending machine, and the shells are soda cans. When suddenly you are accosted by an extremely loud lobster.
Think yourself above the law!
Who accuses you of stealing and declares himself to be the law. Despite protests from Krill,
I'm really sorry. I'll go to the back of the line, okay?
you quickly find yourself in the middle of the first boss fight of the game. An unfortunate situation resulting from a miscommunication that one party refuses to acknowledge an explanation for. Sounds pretty adult to me. The game explores other adult themes too, like when you go to talk to the Duchess about your missing shell, and she responds by forcing you to do unpaid and unregulated work within crumbling infrastructure for the state. Another Crab's Treasure also explores the emotional aspects of adult life, like no matter how much you enjoyed a place the first time you saw it, when you return, you find that maybe it wasn't that good anyway. Like when you go back to the Duchess, and her castle is a mess, and she's vomiting poison all over the floor. Defeating her doesn't get you your shell back either, proving once and for all that those in power will often make promises to their constituents, and then not follow through on those promises. Continuing on from there gets you to the great city of New Carcinia, where you are immediately introduced to redlining, as the poor have to live quite literally underneath the rich in this city. Here you learn as well that your shell has been traded now to a pawn prawn, driving home the point that it is almost impossible to break into the housing market when you are a young person with no collateral and a very low income. Your interactions with said prawn are cut short as a massive patch of garbage floats over the city. This continues the theme of the trash-filled ocean that the game has been pushing since the very first moments of gameplay. There are bottles and cans everywhere, accompanied by broken combs and abandoned toy shovels littering the seafloor. In fact, every shell you have access to is also a piece of garbage, be it a banana peel, or a broken teacup, or just a sauce lid. Even the weapons the enemies are using to beat you down are also made of trash. This lobster carries a javelin made of a drink cup and a straw. This crab is swiping at you with a Q-tip, and this one is literally trying to crush you into the ground with a brush. Even the game's currency is trash related, as you buy things and level up using microplastics. And baby, as an adult, I think about how much trash there is in the ocean twice a day. Oh, and don't forget about the real Dark Souls aspect of all of this. Everything is so hard all of the time, and every time I make a minor mistake, I am convinced I will be dead in seconds. Sometimes I mess up so badly that I am catapulted so far back to a place I thought I would never be again, so far from my goal that I was just so close to moments ago. The overwhelming despair affects me in unfathomable ways. And that happens in the game too. Now that's what being an adult is like. So I think my point here, assuming I had one, is that this guy is half right. There is an adult Dark Souls, but it's not Black Myth Wukong. It's another Crab's Treasure. Also, if anyone ever calls a game this generation's Ocarina of Time, you can conscionably block them and move on. That's all I got for you this time. You can decide in your own head if I was being serious or not. Go ahead and debate me heavily or agree with me in a comedically depressing way down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.